I call to order the February 11th, 2026 Planning Commission hearing at 9 a.m. We are meeting in the board chambers at 500 County Center, as well as via Zoom. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please proceed with the roll call.
Commissioner Burrows,
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia,
Present.
Commissioner Gupta,
Here.
Commissioner Nugent,
Present.
Chair Serrano Kwan.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum. And staff is represented by Monowitz, Fox, and Gonzalez. Thank you.
We will now open public comment for items on the consent agenda and not on the agenda. This meeting is a limited public forum. All public comments must relate to something that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of this agency. If a comment does not relate to the subject matter jurisdiction of this agency, we will interrupt your comment and move on to the next speaker. As presiding officer of this meeting, I will determine whether a comment does not relate to the subject matters placed within this agency's purview. Madam Clerk, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I will first call upon members in person, followed by speakers on Zoom. For in-person comments, the speaker slips are located in the back of the room. On Zoom, please use the raise hand feature or *9 if you are calling by phone. And we do have somebody wishing to speak in chambers. Brian Musante. You have 5 minutes.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Brian Musante. Since January 12th, 2018, my properties have been subject to an unlawful merger, resulting in 8 years during which I have been unable to sell, develop, or realize the return on my investment. I continue to pay property taxes, $39,000 on parcels I'm prohibited from using. Page 2. Withholding of material information. Senior Planner Dave Holbrook withheld material and critical information, which is inconsistent with established professional standards in San Mateo County's Code of Ethics. This withholding constitutes spoliation or concealment of evidence. Had Mr. Holbrook or Steve Monowitz produced the relevant merger notification document in January 2018, the county's position at that time would have been overturned. 1979 merger notification applicable laws, paraphrasing. San Mateo County and Development Division sanctioned by the Board of Supervisors and Planning Director dated July 16th, 1979 states, page 1, first paragraph. Section 9, nonconforming lots. A single and separate parcel of land which was a legal building site at the date of the adoption of this ordinance shall continue to be a legal building site. The document itself provides clear examples identifying when a merger is and is not appropriate. Developed parcels are expressly excluded from the merger under Section 9. Failure to investigate and contradictory testimony. Neither Steve Monowitz nor county staff contacted San Mateo County's Recorder's Office, Zoning and Map Division, or a statement given by San Mateo County's Chief Principal Tax Assessor, James Bonin. All of these identities confirmed separate legal parcels in 2016. So when Steve Monowitz gave direct testimony to this body and said, from the county staff perspective, that the merger of pre-existing parcels was done appropriately, and so the appellate in this case is arguing that pre-existing home that predated merger is the basis to unmarriage, that interpretation is consistent with Section 9 of the ordinance. This conclusion is not solely my own. It's supported by San Mateo County zoning codes and state and local government officials I've consulted. Applicable zoning code definition. San Mateo County's 2018 zoning code manual. Skip to the top of page 4. Legal parcel. A parcel created by 1, a subdivision approved by the county. This has been proven by 2 subdivision maps. 1914 Highland Territorial Map number 7, Emerald Lake Park Map number 6, July 11th, 1921. Number 2, a land division which was exempt from subdivision regulations. Exempt meaning no formal subdivision review or approval was required. Number 3, a land division predating the county's authority over subdivisions, July 20, 1945, provided a parcel in question subsequently remained intact, proven by the same subdivision maps recorded in 1921. To be clear, a building permit was not required and the San Mateo County zoning authorities was not established until the late 1930s. These are undisputed facts by the San Mateo County Planning and Building Division. Page 5, closing statement. I respectfully request assistance from this body in resolving the unlawful merger that has affected my property for 8 years. Councilor Timothy Fox, given your expertise in statutes, codes, and ordinances, I ask whether Madam Chair or the commissioners have requested your review of the 8 exhibits I submitted in January of 2026. Counselor, you know the relevancy of the facts put forward. San Mateo County Code of Ethics Conduct states the highest standards of public service, a common vision of responsiveness, the highest standards of ethical conduct, treating people with respect and dignity. Can you confirm that these benchmarks have been attended and achieved? Exhibits submitted in 2020 and more recently are outstanding. I have not received a written response. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, Mr. Chair, we have no further comment for items not on the agenda.
Chair Kwan, I'm happy to respond if you would like the staff's perspective on. Yes, so Mr. Musante's claim of that his parcels were inappropriately merged and should be unmerged was an item that was brought before the Planning Commission many years ago. The staff recommendation that the unmerger should not be approved based on the history of events there was adopted by the Planning Commission and was appealed to the Board of Supervisors by Mr. Musante. That appeal was placed on hold at Mr. Musante's request, but is still valid. So the next appropriate place for his argument to be considered would be by staff scheduling his appeal for Board of Supervisors consideration, which we will be happy to do. And Mr. Musante, I'd be happy to follow up with you at a later date. Okay, well, this is not a...
Did not at any time discuss the facts in this case. Okay, you have nowhere near relevant facts in this case. You, sir,
Thank you. No further comments. We will now close public comment for items on the consent agenda and items not on the agenda. Is there a motion to set the agenda and approve consent agenda, which includes item number 1, minutes from the January 20th, 2026 meeting?
I move.
Second.
Commissioner Burrows,
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Gupta,
Aye.
Commissioner Nugent,
Aye.
Chair Serrano Kwan.
I, with the exception of I wasn't at the last meeting, so I have to abstain.
Abstain from the minutes. Thank you. Motion carries 4-1.
We will now move on to item number 2. Madam Clerk, please introduce the project and the planner.
Owner, Olympic Club. Applicant, Donald J. Hodson. File number PLN 2023-00401. Location 599 Skyline Boulevard. APN 002-012-050. And your project planner is Luis Topete.
Mic test. Okay. So good morning. So item number 2 is consideration of a
resource management permit, use permit and grading permit to construct 8 new pickleball courts and reconfigure and expand the main parking lot at the Olympic Club from 259 to 353 parking stalls. And the project involves 31,000 cubic yards of grading and removal of 87 trees. And the applicant has applied for a consolidated coastal development permit, which has been approved by the California Coastal Commission this past week. So the project is located at 599 Skyline Boulevard, with a portion of the parking lot expansion being within the jurisdiction of the city and county of San Francisco. And the pickleball courts would be fully within the jurisdiction of San Mateo County. So here's a more accurate look at where the county line is located relative to the project areas. The project scope again includes the expansion of the main parking lot located south of the clubhouse and west of the tennis courts, and construction of 8 new pickleball courts in an undeveloped area south of the existing tennis courts and north of Humphrey Drive. And the project would serve existing members of the club and does not involve an expansion of club membership or additional traffic. And while the parking lot expansion is partially within the city and county of San Francisco, the majority of the work would occur in San Mateo County. And the proposal includes the demolition of the existing 259 stall parking lot and construction of a 353 stall parking lot, representing an expansion of approximately 26,500 square feet and an increase in 94 parking spaces. And to accommodate this expansion, a 548-foot long retaining wall would be built along the undeveloped hillside area. And the project also involves reconfiguring the parking lot entrance and parking stall layout, installing new landscaping and irrigation systems, installing new drainage and stormwater management facilities, and parking lot lighting. And also approximately 685 lineal feet of Humphrey Drive would be grinded to a depth of 2 inches and overlaid with new asphalt. The earthwork for the parking lot expansion would include approximately 6,200 cubic yards of excavation and 12,800 cubic yards of fill. Stormwater runoff would be managed through the installation of infiltration trenches and 3 bioretention planters. And the purpose of the parking lot expansion is both to increase parking capacity and to address surface water drainage and erosion issues that are currently affecting the site. And the pickleball courts would be constructed in the undeveloped area south of the existing tennis courts and north of Humphrey Drive. And a total of 8 new pickleball courts are proposed, with seating areas, small amphitheater style seating, and additional ADA parking. Earthwork would involve roughly 2,000 cubic yards of excavation and no-fill. Stormwater management would be provided through 3 new bioretention planters along the north edge of the work area, adjacent to the existing tennis courts. And the proposed stairs and ramps surrounding the courts would provide walkways to and from Humphrey Drive and the existing tennis courts. And the stairs and ramps along the hillside would provide access to the existing employee parking lot. And
Luis,
approvals?
I'm sorry, Luis.
Mhm.
I'm going to have to ask you to pause for a moment. We've been getting messages from folks who are trying to tune in from Zoom, and for some reason they're unable to join because they're being asked for a meeting passcode. Some of us have attempted and been successful in logging in without a passcode, but when I just tried, I was not able to log in without a passcode. So with permission from the chair, I would suggest we take a 5-minute break while we try and resolve this technical matter.
Sure.
I apologize for the difficulty.
So item number 2 is consideration of a resource management permit, use permit and grading permit to construct 8 new pickleball courts and reconfigure and expand the main parking lot at the Olympic Club. from 259 to 353 parking stalls. And the project involves 31,000 cubic yards of grading and removal of 87 trees. And the applicant has applied for a consolidated coastal development permit, which has been approved by the California Coastal Commission this past week. So the project site is located at 599 Skyline Boulevard, with a portion of the parking lot expansion being within the jurisdiction of the city and county of San Francisco. And the pickleball courts would be fully within the jurisdiction of San Mateo County. And the project site is located at, here's a more accurate look at where the county line is located relative to the project areas. And the project scope includes the expansion of the main parking lot located south of the clubhouse and west of the tennis courts, and construction of 8 new pickleball courts in the undeveloped area south of the existing tennis courts and north of Humphrey Drive. And the project would serve existing members of the club and does not involve an expansion of the club membership or additional traffic. And while the parking lot expansion is partially within the city and county of San Francisco, the majority of the work would occur within San Mateo County. And the proposal includes demolition of the existing 259 stall parking lot and construction of a 353 stall parking lot. This represents an expansion of roughly 26,500 square feet and a net increase of 94 parking spaces. And to accommodate this expansion, a 548-foot-long retaining wall would be built along the undeveloped hillside area. And the project also involves reconfiguring the parking lot entrance and parking stall layout, installing new landscaping and irrigation systems, installing new drainage and stormwater management facilities, and parking lot lighting. And in addition, there will be roughly 685 lineal feet of Humphrey Drive that would be grinded to a depth of 2 inches and overlaid with new asphalt. And the earthwork would include 16,200 cubic yards of excavation and 12,800 cubic yards of fill. And stormwater runoff would be managed through the installation of infiltration trenches and 3 bioretention planters. And the purpose of the parking lot expansion is both to increase parking capacity and to address surface water drainage and erosion issues currently affecting the site. And the pickleball courts would be constructed in the undeveloped area south of the existing tennis courts and north of Humphrey Drive. And a total of 8 new pickleball courts are being proposed, with seating areas, small amphitheater style seating, and additional ADA parking. And the earthwork would involve about 2,000 cubic yards of excavation and no fill. Stormwater management would be provided through 3 new bioretention planters along the north edge of the work area adjacent to the existing tennis courts. And the proposed stairs and ramps surrounding the courts would provide walkways to and from Humphrey Drive and the existing tennis courts. And the stairs and ramps along the hillside would provide access to the existing employee parking lot. And tree removal associated with the parking lot expansion would total 64 trees, 29 of which have a circumference greater than 55 inches. And tree removal for the new pickleball courts would total 14 trees, 8 of which have a circumference greater than 55 inches. So in total, 87 trees are proposed for removal. This includes 78 in San Mateo County and 9 trees in the city and county of San Francisco. And within San Mateo County, 37 trees would have a circumference greater than 55 inches. And those require the approval of a resource management permit. The other 41 trees do not require a permit for removal. And based off the number of trees being removed, a minimum of 74 replacement trees are required, with 200 replacement trees proposed, Of these, roughly 146 are proposed in San Mateo County. And the county arborist reviewed the project and approved the proposed tree removals and also the replantings. And the project is within the general plan land use designation of private recreation. And upon review of the applicable provisions of the general plan, staff has determined that the project complies with all applicable general plan policies, including the policies that are listed here. And the supporting analysis is found in section A1 of the staff report. And again, for this project, the applicant is pursuing a consolidated coastal development permit through the Coastal Commission, which was approved this last week. And the project site is located in the Resource Management Coastal Zone District and Coastal Development District, with the portion in the Residential Estates District, Residential Density District 9. However, the project area within the county's jurisdiction is entirely within the Resource Management Coastal Zone District and Coastal Development District. And staff has reviewed the project and determined that it complies with all applicable development review criteria of the district, including the criteria that's listed here. And the supporting analysis is found in section A3 of the staff report. In regarding CEQA, this project is categorically exempt from environmental review per the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines section 15301. This is a class 1 exemption for existing facilities, and also section 15303, which is a class 3 exemption for new construction or conversion of small structures. And the supporting analysis is found in attachment F. And staff's recommendation is that the Planning Commission approve the resource management permit, use permit, and grading permit identified as county file number PLN 2023-00401 by adopting the required findings and conditions of approval that are contained in attachment A. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Luis.
you.
Do we have any questions from the commission to Luis? I have one question regarding any concerns or requirements for the pickleball court and ADA.
There is one ADA parking space that's being provided. Maybe the applicant can speak a little bit more in regards to the consideration of ADA and design of the pickleball courts.
Questions?
Through the chair. I do notice that there is a ramp from 2 ADA parking spots near the pickleball courts that looks like it connects to the pickleball courts on the plans.
Thank you.
Just going back to the drawing so you can see where that is located. Whoops.
Yep.
So on the right-hand side, the ADA parking, and then the ADA path of travel leading to the platform number 1.
Thank you. With the expansion of the parking spaces in the parking lot, is it anticipated that there will be more events and with additional participants at these events?
At least based off the application material submitted, they're indicating no additional people joining the club, that there'd be no additional traffic associated, just to increase space for the existing members.
Thank you. I just have a little question and concern about the egress and the entrance of that particular on Skyline. It's hard to get in there. And there's nothing really pertaining to the issues today, but it's something that I have some concerns about, and I'll talk to the applicant about that later on in terms of that, addressing that issue, if any, because of the narrowness of the entry and the turn, I guess, going south into the club. So that's my only additional question for you, Luis. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Real quick, that ramp we were just discussing. There's a 21 pointing at a. I assume 21 is a light post, light fixture. So if you look right, follow the text of platform 1, look to the right of that. There's a number 21.
Oh, yes. Let me pull up the drawings on my computer to confirm what that 21 is.
I'm pretty sure 21 is a light fixture.
Okay.
That wasn't the question.
Okay.
It is pointing at a thing that is just unclear. And I do hope that's not a set of steps.
Through the chair, that's a drain inlet from the civil plan.
Oh, excellent.
Can you point to that? I'm not sure if I'm looking at the right. Okay. We cannot enlarge that?
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
This one?
No, to the right. The termination of the ADA path.
Okay.
Or you could point at the number?
Trying to get
A
there.
little to the left of
or
where you are.
mention the number? This is the ADA. Okay,
Ah.
I see it. I see it. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
You do-
just confirming this ramp and stairs across, what is it, Humphrey? It's not a bridge, it's a crosswalk.
That is correct.
That's the road. Yeah, okay, thank you.
So are all these at the same level, all the pickle courts, or is that kind of
No, they are not. They are at a different elevation.
different elevations? Okay. So I assume that this ramp is more for audience who will be sitting,
That is correct. Mhm.
correct? Right, not for the players.
Mhm.
And do we have a number of how many seats there are?
I don't believe that was listed. No. Just the sitting area identified on
Just
the.
the sitting
site plan.
area, okay. And is there, are there any operating hours or?
That could probably be best answered by the applicant. Yeah.
Okay, okay. The other question I had was about the project duration, but that I'll let the
Mhm.
Applicant address that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Luis.
Good presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your questions. The applicant will now have 15 minutes for their presentation, if any. Does the applicant wish to speak?
Hello. My name is Troy Flanagan. I'm the Director of Golf Maintenance at the Olympic Club, so an employee.
Hi, my name is Avi. I'm the Assistant General Manager of the Olympic Club. Good morning.
So to answer questions, Skyline Drive, as I'm sure you know, is a Caltrans controlled road, and we have had many discussions with them. I've been there 12 years now. So we've had discussions about possibly putting a light in, possibly a way to slow down traffic. That road can get really fast, and we haven't really gotten anywhere because we do have concerns for our members as well, not just entering the facility, but also exiting. So it has been an issue that we've been working on, and I'm hoping that we'll get there someday. We are looking at mitigations for leaving the club and only taking a right turn going northbound instead of going across the road and going southbound. So we're actually working on our own control to make it safer for our members and people driving on that road. So, does that answer that?
Thank you, yes.
Yeah. As far as the parking lot, as Luis said, we are not expanding our membership for pickleball or anything like that. We just get heavily impacted, especially on days when we have weddings or memorials, days like that, that's when the parking lot gets heavily compacted. So we have to valet and stack cars in that parking lot. And then also the parking lot is sloughing off on the east side. So that's a big part of trying to fix that before we start to create problems down the hill. Thank you. And then,
And Commissioner Gupta had a question on operating hours for the pickleball. So the club is closed on Monday. We will be operating 6 days a week as our tennis facility, which is located very closely. And so we will be open from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Yes, that is correct.
On courts,
Yes.
right? Okay.
That is correct.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a question on the noise factor of pickleball that we all have kind of experienced. I'm, the neighborhoods are at a distance where theoretically they're not going to be impacted by the noise, theoretically, maybe depending on how the wind blows. But I mean, what kind of noise mitigation steps are you taking? I mean, I can't believe someone golfing out there to the tune of pickleball is going to be, I mean, I'm sure you had a lot of internal discussion about this, I'm guessing.
Yep.
So what are we going to do to mitigate the noise factor?
So there was a lot of conversations at the club on the noise and mitigating the noise level. Let's address the neighbors first. The vicinity of this pickleball location is far away from any neighbors being impacted on any level by the noise.
1,600 feet was
Yes.
the number. Yeah.
We had a study done on noise, and I have a copy of the study for the commission. As far as mitigation, we are planning on installing solid barriers inside the pickleball courts that absorbs the noises. And there has been other clubs in the country that have went towards a lower pickleball paddles that are coming into play. At some point, we will be incorporating that as well. But I don't think we anticipate any noise impact to our neighbors, and certainly not in the clubhouse. The two holes that are closest to the pickleball and number 17th of the lake, and the tee box on number 5, the ocean. We have the study, and it's minimally impacted, so much so the study compares it to even when we are maintaining a golf course. There's the golf carts are driving, and then there is wind, leaf blowers as well. It's still less than that.
So when the U.S. Open happens, we won't be hearing the pickleball court. Okay, just want to make sure.
we won't.
No, we will not be.
So we do have the 2028 PGA Championship, and all facilities will be shut down. But we do have a copy of the report if you'd like.
If anybody would like.
It was a very important topic for our members, especially our golf members.
I'm sure it was. Yep. Also on the lighting, I had a question. I noted that the downward facing fixtures, which is good, but we were discussing in the new ordinance about 3,000 Kelvin color rating, for dark sky limits. Is that consideration on the lighting?
What is the muted lighting? I think it's just a regular fixture that's downward pointing. I don't think it's been incorporated. It should be in accordance with the ordinance.
I mean, the ordinance hasn't actually changed.
Yeah, it hasn't.
Quite yet.
Yeah.
If it does change, we can consider in the.
So I guess what you're saying is
It's
the
a
existing
different-
one should be 2,200, which is
3,000
no,
is what we.
3,000 is what we're changing it to.
Yeah.
2,200 is what it was.
I have to look on the details of the.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything. That was their original recommendation.
While you're looking it up, so I see, I'm just want to make sure I'm following the site section of the pickleball court. So they are lower than the adjacent most closest adjacent golf course area, and I'm guessing the retaining walls are what provide sound attenuation on that side, because they face the tennis courts on one side, the northern part of the pickleball courts, and then on the southern part there's retaining walls that allow the pickleball courts to be level, so where the road is. I guess I'm just wondering, what is the height of these retaining walls that fall along the road?
Yeah, they vary as you come down Humphrey. It might be 10 feet at the max in the western side, and then it gets less and less as you come down. And then you have the seating, right? That's kind of tucked into the wall. And
Okay.
you continue down till it's 4.
Okay.
And then at the eastern end, it's there's nothing because that's where the ADA comes in, and the ADA has accessibility onto the courts.
Mhm.
And then further beyond that, there's some trees and some landscaping that's planted further east
Okay.
between hole 17 and the edge of the courts.
Okay.
Yeah. So the platforms, they're lower. If you come off Humphrey Drive, you'd go down and you'd be able to actually look down onto the courts from that slope.
Okay. Yeah. I'm seeing it. And I'm able to it's easier to see it on the larger map of the project site. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And my colleague's looking for the light fixture on the plan.
So, what do you anticipate as the project duration?
So the parking lot is our biggest concern right now. That's the one that we would like to start essentially as soon as possible.
Okay.
As far as the
Even before the pickleball court?
Yes.
Okay.
So the pickleball courts right now, the board of directors has not set a start date on that, but we really want to start the parking lot as soon as possible. We have the PGA Championship in 2028, May. Doesn't sound like a big deal. It's one of the biggest golf tournaments in the world. So there will be a lot of visitors. We want to get that parking lot done. There'll be a lot of traffic through that area. We don't want to get into the next year's rainy season. So we want to get it done, get it started April 1st if we can get through the permitting. And then it's about a 6-month project. So we can try to get it done before the start of next year's rainy season.
Okay.
And then they're still trying to figure out when to do the pickleball courts. They're not as important in the timelines as the parking lot.
Okay. And you will reuse the part that's already there, right? Resurface
For the
some of
parking lot?
For
Actually,
the
it's
parking lot.
completely redo the asphalt on the parking lot is
Right.
deteriorating
And
badly.
add some more.
And
Right.
add some more, correct. Yeah,
Right.
it will all be nicely new surfaced.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
For the US Open in 2012, all the spectators, the 25 to 30,000 people all came through that parking lot. So we're not exactly sure how they're going to ingress and egress for that championship, but
Okay.
there's a really good chance that people will be walking through that parking lot every day for 7 days.
So during the parking lot construction, what is your plan for parking?
Yeah. So what we're doing is the contractor has to keep half of the parking spots open at all times. So we have a valet company that's going to valet all cars coming in to the property. We do have 2 other parking lots. So it's going to be a difficult 6 months for our members, but they'll do a really good job of stacking. So there is a whole plan. That's what Abby's been working on.
Okay. Thank you.
So you indicated, you said grading for the parking lot April 1st?
If all goes well, we do have a winter grading application in with
Oh, you
Louise
do?
right
Okay,
now.
because it's not
Correct.
allowed until April 30th on the,
Yeah, correct. And
so you're looking at.
I'm not sure, Luis, where that's at, but I know he has the information.
Okay.
So I think we have. Maybe not. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I just asked Luis if he has the complete application in for the winter grading.
I would have to go back and double check because the last one I recall was for the Ocean Golf Course, so I can't recall this one at the moment.
Might be important.
Why don't you jump
Yeah,
in?
the application's on my desk. We're just waiting for the contractor information to put on it.
Could you introduce yourself? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Donald Hodson, DJ Hodson with Langen,
Ah.
the applicant.
Okay.
Nice to meet everyone. And the answer to your lighting, it's 3,000 is what's
Oh.
specified in the plans. So we're,
Great. Thank you.
yeah.
There's no further questions. Thank you, everyone. We'll now open
Thank you.
Thank
the
you, Commissioner.
comment for item number 2. Madam Clerk, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. We did not receive any written correspondence for item number 2. There's nobody wishing to speak in chambers, and there are no hands raised on Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now close public comment for item number 2 and begin commission discussion on this, if any. If there's any comment from the commission at all?
Is the arborist? Did we have an arborist on? Okay, I had some questions about the trees.
Yes, we do have Arbus. He's on, he was still having some problems with Zoom, but he's on the phone. So I think he'll be able to. Yeah. Scott Stringer. If we can't.
Hello,
do
this
him-
is Scott Stringer. Are you
Hi,
able to hear me?
Yes. Do you know when the tree removal will be commencing? Approximately?
That would be a question for Troy and his team on the time frame of removals.
So the plan is obviously once we receive all permits, we would work with our ecologist on making sure there's some requirements for butterflies, bird nesting, and
Yeah.
bats. So once
Right.
those requirements are met, then we will do that.
So the
removal of those
nesting
trees.
bird survey and the.
Yeah,
all
correct.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's that. And then just a quick, there was a reference to tree number 127. And I was just curious, is that a significant tree or is it present danger? Or is it just notable, for,
So that's one.
Why it was preserved?
Yeah, so it was mentioned the conditions of approval because it's a tree not proposed for removal. So we're asking to show the tree protection at the time that they submit for building permits, since it's proposed to remain.
okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. That's it.
Any other comment from commissioners at all? If not, we can entertain motion, please. Questions, comments?
So I was going to make a motion. I move that the Planning Commission approve resource management permit, use permit, and grading permit, county file number PLN 2023-00401 by adopting the required findings and conditions of approval contained in attachment A.
I second that motion.
Commissioner Burrows,
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Gupta,
Aye.
Commissioner Nugent,
Aye.
Chair Serrano Kwan.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. We will now move on to item number 3. Madam Clerk, please introduce the project and the planner.
Good morning, Chairperson Serrano Kwan
Oh,
and
what-
members of the commission.
One second. This is item number 3, Long Range Planning Work Program, and presented to you by Planning Services Manager Bharat Singh. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. So again, Good morning, Commissioner, Chairperson Sarana Kwan and members of the Commission. As mentioned, I'm Bharat Singh, a Planning Services Manager, and I also lead the Long Range Planning Team, which consists of Chanda Singh, the Senior Planner responsible for transportation projects, Will Gibson, everything housing, and then Katie Faulkner, who handles pretty much everything else. So with that, I just wanted to, you have in your packets two attachments. One is a summary sheet and one is a much more detailed spreadsheet. And the way that our work plan is organized is into 4 categories, or rather 4 or 5 categories. First is obviously the state mandated policy updates, our general plan updates that we are undertaking. At this point, we have the housing element that's been completed, but the rezoning for that is ongoing. We have the safety element and the EJ element ongoing as well. And then we have any ordinance and regulation updates. We'll go into some of those later in the presentation. Community plans and studies. At this point, we have Plan Princeton as the largest one that we are working on, and a smaller study that we have done that has just recently been completed. Transportation plans and studies. Again, that's a sizable chunk of our efforts. And then lastly, we have operational projects that we do in terms of streamlining development standards or any ordinances or new laws that come in and interpreting them in terms of what do we need to do in terms of our procedures and regulations, or do we need any ordinance changes. So with that, let's move on to the next slide, please. Oh, sorry. All right. So this is the summary sheet that you all have in your packets. Again, it just outlines the priority for the projects as well as the tentative timeline. Again, this year, we really haven't added anything new because we just had way too much on our plate from last year, and pretty much all of this is a continuation of all the projects that we were working on last year. That doesn't mean that there might be new things that we have to take on. Primarily, once we the expected safety element and EJ element should be completed by the summer, and that would lead to policies and implementations that are recommended from those elements that would have to be continued. In addition to, there are some other things that we may take on as per the request of board members or the county administration. Some of the things that we likely will be working on, as I mentioned, the safety element and the EJ element implementation. There's the possibility of launching a study to develop a transfer of development rights program through Plan Princeton as we complete that. We may also be looking at our regulations in terms of encouraging ag tourism and what we need to do with regards to our policies, trying to encourage that on the coast side. And then again, as I mentioned, any changes to regulations due to state law. So coming to the long-range work plan for the state-mandated work, as mentioned, we have the safety element, the environmental justice element, and the housing element that is of our prime concern. The safety element, the final draft of the policies is under review. We should shortly be releasing it to the public for comment. That our expectation is early March. The environmental justice element, the consultants are in the process of drafting the policies, so that should follow maybe by late spring, that it would be released for public review. In addition to that, the state passed a couple of laws, SB 1425 and AB 1889, that requires jurisdictions to review and update their open space and conservation elements. We've looked at this a little carefully, and as part of SB 1425, the requirements of the law, we pretty much have policies in our elements that cover those. So we would be releasing a statement outlining all the policies that cover those at the end of, once the safety element has been approved. With regards to the conservation element, or 1889, what it requires us to do is to come up with policies that preserve wildlife corridors. So we are looking at that to see if do we genuinely have any wildlife corridors that aren't already preserved under the preservation of watersheds and riparian corridors. If we have any exception, we will go ahead and add the additional safe policies that require to preserve these wildlife corridors. But we'll be looking at that once the safety element is done. And then lastly, the housing element, we've met the statutory requirements. It was approved last year. We're in the process of updating the rezoning that is required to be in compliance, and that should be completed by the summer of this year. The main challenge for that is there's a couple of sites on the coast side, and then that would require Coastal Commission approval. So we are trying to figure out how long would that take, and would we be able to get a conditional compliance from the state should we get everything else done. Next, we have community plans and studies. As I mentioned, we have two, Plan Princeton and the Pescadero Workforce Housing Opportunity Analysis. Plan Princeton last year, late in September, we presented the development standards and sea level rise land use policy, which is basically an overlay, which you can see in the image out there, to the community. The community was fairly receptive to the standards, as well as the probability of coming up with a transfer of development rights program. So we'll be working on that as we complete this plan, hopefully by the end of the year. One thing that is new to the plan is the Harbor District's work that they have done trying to get the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to mitigate some of the impacts of the seawall. And that work is undergoing as we speak. There is a public meeting on February 25th, where they will go to the public and with some alternative options of what they think would be the remediations that they need to do. That significantly impacts what we have been trying to do with the community plan, and therefore we had to wait to see what they were doing before we could move things forward. So we know what they're doing now, so we're moving forward with completing the document and releasing it to the public for review. Then on Pescadero Workforce Housing, the work by the consultants has been completed. It's in for internal review. We are hoping to work with DOH and get their feedback on that before it is released to the public. Next, we have our long-range work for transportation plans and studies. There's several things that we are doing. However, I just want to highlight the two significant ones here. The first one you're probably all aware of, the Moss Beach SR1 Congestion and Safety Improvement Project. At this point, early last year, we had just gotten into the BAED phase. We're still in that phase. We're hoping to complete that by the fall of 2026. There's been a little bit of delay because there are multiple parties that are involved, particularly Caltrans, and they take their time to evaluate some of the environmental reports. So that's what we are actually waiting on at this point, for them to give the green light on some of the reports that have been submitted so that we can move this forward. With regards to the Carlos Street parallel trail gap closure study, we had completed that in 2025, and at this point we are looking for funds to for the next phase of it in terms of the design and build of what can be done along Carlos Street. So we are actively looking for any kind of grants or funding sources for that particular project. Then the last part of it, of our work plan, is the ordinance and regulations. So with regards to some of the housing related updates, at your last session, you had the objective development standards presented by Camille, and you had some modifications to that, which would be incorporated and taken to the board next month. So that's moving as per schedule. The LCP amendment for farm worker housing, those have been drafted and are expected to be released for public review by the spring. We are also looking at an LCP amendment for Seal Cove to update the hazard zone. So that would be something that we'd be working on in the short term. Then some of the ordinance updates that we had completed last year are still pending because it's under Coastal Commission review, and they have been taking their time to trying to get the consistency analysis approved from their commission. So with that, I think the last item that we have is we got a slew of new laws this year. If I remember correctly, it's about 20 new laws that we have to look at carefully and try and update. So what we have done is set up a method to prioritize those in terms of which ones are most immediate, and we'll try and start getting whatever we need to do by next month. So immediately, we have to look at, do we need to change procedure? Do we need to change information that we need to provide the community? Or lastly, do we need to change the ordinance? So we're trying to look at that, evaluate that, and come up with a prioritization mechanism for all these laws. So which ones we need to do first, which ones can wait. So we are hoping that the review of that prioritization happens by the end of the month, so that we have a plan of action for the rest of the year in order to which ones do we need to get done sooner. And a lot of the ones that we need to get done sooner are associated with housing. So there's a slew of ministerial approvals that are required, or streamlining that has to happen in order to facilitate housing. So those would be the most important priority for us to get done. So with that, I think I come to the end of my presentation. I'm open to questions. So as staff from Long Range.
Thank you, Bharat. Do we have any questions for Bharat?
I have a question regarding the open space element review.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, that it was supposed to be completed by January 1st of this year.
Yes, it was. But at that time, it was SB 1425 that we had looked at. And at that point, we had determined that all the requirements of the law are already covered under different elements. So the climate change element, the safety element that we're going through right now, and the existing open space, I think it's called, I'm forgetting the name of the element, it's slightly differently named in our existing general plan. So all the policies for 1429 are covered. So what we were hoping to do is essentially at the end of when we submit the safety element for approvals, we will have an additional memo there that outlines how the existing policies and the policies included in the safety element would cover the open space. As I understand, there is no penalty, so to say, of
I was going to ask that.
not meeting the deadline at this point, but we will acknowledge that in the safety when we take the safety element to the board.
So you're confident that we're adhering to the spirit of the law, but
yes,
even though we don't have the letter, possibly.
Yes. So we will outline all the different policies that we have that fulfill the law as an attachment to the safety element when it goes to the board.
And that safety element, of course, will come to the Planning Commission, and we can include a draft of that memo when we present it to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Can you just give a little overview of what the tree permit mapping tool is that's being developed?
The tree permit mapping tool, the idea here is because for protected trees, when they're removed, you have to plant trees as replacement. Those are automatically protected, even though they may not be of the right species that are in the protected tree list. Those are protected because they are replacements. So where they are on site is what we want to map. So what we're trying to do is essentially every time a permit comes through and it's approved, we actually have the coordinates of where they are. So at this point, we are trying to get the coordinates into the permits so that at a later date, we can just take the permits, take the coordinates, and map it so that it's available to staff. So when a new tree permit comes or tree removal permit comes for that site, the staff planner or the permit technician can look at that and say, it's very close to where those trees are. Is it that tree or not? So that's the purpose of the tree mapping.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
Any other questions from the commission?
There's this Cypress Point project that's going on. And from time to time, we get speakers concerned about what is the thing? This Carlos Street, what is the word I'm looking for? Construction there, because they are very concerned about the traffic and the crossing of the pedestrians and not just pedestrians, cars and things. So does that fall under this mid-coast parallel trail gap closure near Carlos Street? Because Carlos Street is the one that they bring up every time.
Yes, so it's a bit more staged in the terms of what is happening with Carlos Street with regards to the Cypress Point project.
Right.
Right now, the conditional requirement to the improvements is to put on, I believe, no parking signs so that it's open, the fire access is available. But we are obligated to make those improvements to Carlos Street as a more permanent resolution to the issue, which is what is listed in our work plan.
Okay.
The initial, I think, sort of sketched ideas or the study that was done, I think it was based off of a grant that was provided to us through MTC, and that provided us with some alternative strategies or design strategies, and we'd have to take the next stage of actually doing the actual design and construction of those alternatives. So that's what we are trying to look for monies for, and we're hoping that we can secure some funds for that and move that forward, so that by the time Cypress Point is ready to go, either we are under construction or just about getting that done.
Right, because they are very concerned that that still won't be done by the time Cypress.
Yes, so the
Point
interim would
project
be
is-
that you would have no parking along Carlos Street.
Yeah.
But the ultimate goal is to have Carlos improved so that we have not only adequate right of way from safety perspective, but also have a adjacent trail, which is the intention here is to have the east side Bay Trail, Coastal Trail connected. This is a gap that connects to the north and to all the work that has happened in the south.
Okay. Because I see that it goes on through 2027, through the end of 2027. So you are saying that you still will need funding to secure.
Yes, we are
funding.
actively looking for that. And if there are some opportunities here to try and get some funds, again, if we are unsuccessful, then we would have to, work with the board and in our budgets to try and figure out where to get the monies for that.
Okay. And I had seen some, I don't remember exactly what, but there was something from in the news about this Moss Beach State Route 1 congestion and safety improvement project. Could you say a few words about that?
The project itself, as I mentioned, is in the phase of the environmental review. So we are evaluating the impacts of that. Those reports are with, some of those reports are with Caltrans for them to sort of approve that these are they're satisfied with the environmental review. And once they have given that green light for that, we can, make those public. People can look at that. And then the next phase of that is the actual design and construction, the design for construction phase. I'm forgetting the name. Maybe, Chanda, if you can sort of
Yeah, I think
elaborate
they
what the next
said
steps are.
some roundabouts were constructed and
Good morning. I'm Shonda Singh. I'm a senior transportation planner with the department, and I'm the county's project manager for the Moss Beach State Route 1 Congestion and Safety Improvements Project. So the project has been largely funded through the Transportation Authority so far through various grants. The first phase we completed in 2024, and that really set the stage of taking recommendations from our long-range plan, Connect the Coast Side, and taking it through the first phase of the Caltrans project development process. So during that phase, we identified a few different options for the types of improvements that could be on Highway 1 and in the general vicinity of connection points, basically from the local streets to Highway 1 in Moss Beach. So the project limits are from about 16th Street, 14th Street, around there through Marine Boulevard. So pretty much the entirety of Moss Beach. So during the first phase, we identified two options with some variations. One includes looking at roundabouts at the intersections of Cypress Avenue and Highway 1, California Avenue and Highway 1, and then a signal at 16th Street and Highway 1. And then the second alternative looks at signals at those same three locations. And then both alternatives include various bicycle and pedestrian and transit improvements. So we've included a portion of the parallel trail, bike lanes on Highway 1, some sidewalk. And so now with that first phase being done in 2024, we're in the second phase where we're really doing much more study in order to prepare the environmental document to comply with CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act, and the National Environmental Policy Act. And as part of the Caltrans process, we have to prepare something called a project report, which provides a lot more detail for Caltrans around the engineering design. So we're looking at impacts to things like wetlands in the area, species, drainage, air quality, like everything that's pretty much required. So right now, our consultant team that's largely funded by the Transportation Authority is producing a administrative draft environmental document for all parties to review, which will then be released to the public as a draft, hopefully in a few months. And then we'll have a public meeting to sort of show or allow the public to kind of basically comment on the draft environmental document and review the detailed project designs. And then after that, we will still need sort of more, we're looking actively, as Bharat mentioned, for more money, resources to continue through the project development process with whatever alternative is identified as the preferred alternative to move forward. And yeah, if there's any other questions, I'm happy to.
Okay.
And I recently updated the project website and posted a bunch of videos. So maybe I think you're on my list, sir, Commissioner Kifta. So there's a lot more info on the website.
Okay. Thank you.
And I should mention that the videos were all done by Chanda, and they're excellent videos. So there's a lot of effort that has been gone into this project in particular, and particularly in trying to engage the community at large.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
The only comment I would make is, as a Coast Side resident, it sounds like you're doing an incredible job being proactive, but I know on the Coast Side they want this project done, so we want to make sure. And I know it's impossible to control Caltrans probably, but whatever we can do to remain at the forefront and showing we're doing our part, so they're pointing the finger at other directions. That would be, because I know there's with the Cypress Point project coming in, there's a lot of tension there. So you're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, Bharat. Thank you for your questions, commissioners. We'll now open public comment for item number 3. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. We do have one hand raised on Zoom from Michelle Dragoni. You will have 5 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I actually, you may have seen it on Coastside Buzz. I run Coastside Buzz, and I did do a post on the Moss Beach congestion project. And thank you. The videos are amazing. The documentation and the graphics are fabulous. So thank you very much for that. I wanted to talk about Plan Princeton for a second. I know I talked to Summer. She came to the Cap 111 shoreline presentation. And it's been a long time since we really addressed the zoning in the outer harbor. Right now, it's marine industrial, and as you know, fishing is taking a big hit. And if you would walk through, and I invite you to do so, the outer harbor, you'll find that a lot of the old fishing families, like the Furtados, they have given up on the crab traps. They've all gone up north, and now that we have containers, so we would like to have. I put together a group of about maybe 15 people that own land in the harbor, including the Romeo Packing Company, Lenny Mendonça that owns the Bruco, OPL, there's a bunch of businesses here. They would all like to have another meeting about how we manage the actual zoning to create something called Coastside Industrial Commercial. That doesn't mean that marine industrial can't come back if it does, but it will allow, we have a lot of contractors that need spaces. We have a childcare place for after-school program that's in the harbor, and it just gives us a lot more latitude. The second thing in the outer harbor is that no housing has been addressed. I mean, really ever, except for a reference in the 2015 airport plan. And it says something about a single family home needs 5,000 square feet. Well, that was actually based on some really, really older information. And I think given that we have the housing crisis, I mean, you're building 71 units in Moss Beach, and there's no units in the outer harbor. There's caretaking unit program, which we in the outer harbor would like, because the Romeos, they have employees. The Half Moon Bay Kayak Company, they have employees. The fishing boats, they have employees. And the Harbor District has just bought 2 properties in the harbor, and they want workforce housing. That's just hot off the press. I was just talking to the general manager, Jim Pruitt, over the weekend, and I will send you an email with the update on that. But I think both the zoning and the caretaking units need to be addressed. Lastly, sea level rise overlay. I can see how long it's taken to work. I think the Cap 111 Army Corps project is still rolling out, and I think that they could solve the problem. So you may not need to have a overlay that basically is a taking for the people who own the property because you're devaluing it. Now, we've been talking, and Carrie Burke is a really famous and very good land use person for the coast side. We want to work with you on it. So I went to the Coastal Commission, and I I saw Dan Carl, who's our D4 representative, and I said, hey, because I mentioned this to Summer, I said, hey, has there been a TDR, a transfer development rights program done in the coastal zone? And Dan, when I first said to him, his immediate reaction was no. And I said, well, I'll email you and get back to me with a real no. And he got back with me with a real no. It hasn't been done. So there's 2 TDRs that Summer said that are on the other side, on the bay side. I think it would be very useful for the Planning Commission at this stage to get a full presentation of what Summer did. I think it was at the end of 2025. And so that you can get your head around this, because again, it's not been done. You're going to be approving it. And I think that there are some mechanisms that haven't been thought all the way through, and we would like to help you do that. So I hope you can get that agendized. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And with that, Chair, we have no further comments.
Thank you. We will now close public comment for item number 3. This is info item only, no action required, but are there any last comments from the commission at all?
Just to thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Director Monowitz.
Yes, good morning, commissioners. Item number 4 is regarding any correspondence that's come in for the commission. We have not received any since the last meeting. So moving on to item 5, Our next scheduled meeting of February 25th has been canceled due to lack of items, meaning that the next meeting will occur on March 11th. We do not have any study session planned for that meeting, but we do currently have at least one item on the agenda for that meeting. Excuse me, it's for an addition to an existing residence in El Granada. Moving on to item 6, the director's report. I want to inform the commissioners of some upcoming Board of Supervisors hearings that may interest you. On February 24th, staff will be presenting the update to the California Building Code, which took effect on January 1st, and our corresponding amendments to the county's building regulations. We'll also be bringing proposed updates to the fire code proposed by various fire districts that operate within the unincorporated area. On March 10th, we will be presenting to the Board of Supervisors an appeal of the Markey Guard project. Some of you may recall this project. It involved an agricultural storage building built near La Honda on 350 Madera Lane. The building was constructed out of stacked cargo containers, and the neighbor who's concerned about that project appealed the Planning Commission's decision to approve it to the Board of Supervisors. So that hearing is scheduled for March 10th. And then finally, as Bharat had mentioned, on March 24th, we will be presenting the proposed changes to the design review ordinance. The only other matter I wanted to inform the commissioners of is an upcoming community meeting regarding the issues we're facing in Seal Cove. As you may know, the county commissioned a geologic study to kind of update the county on the status of the various geologic hazards that are impacting that neighborhood. And so we will be presenting the findings of that study and discussing how the county intends to address the recommendations contained in that study. And that meeting will occur on February 18th. That's next Wednesday at 6:00 p.m. And that will be at the District 3 COSIDE office, which is located at 27 Capistrano Road. We do intend to record it and make that recording available. But if you would like to attend, you are more than welcome. And that concludes my report for today. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Oh, so
It might not be on the printed copy, but it is on the agenda that's on the website. Yeah, pardon, but
back to the clerk for that.
yeah, I'll open it up for discussion on election of the chair and vice chair for 2026. Yeah.
Currently have a vice chair?
So we do not currently have a vice chair, as that was Commissioner Ramirez, who you took over his seat. Yeah.
Is it time now to discuss it? Does anybody want to volunteer?
Yeah, I would like to say it's my third meeting. I'd like to respectfully not be nominated, but just in the interest of moving a discussion along, I would nominate Commissioner Garcia and Commissioner Nugent respectively as chair and vice chair.
I'd be happy to be vice chair.
Was a nomination for Commissioner Burrows to nominate Commissioner Garcia as chair and Commissioner Nugent as vice chair, and that was seconded by Commissioner Serrano Kwan. Okay, Commissioner Burrows,
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia,
Aye.
Commissioner Gupta,
Aye.
Commissioner Nugent,
Aye.
Chair Serrano Kwan. Thank you. Motion carries.
Yes, we can.